Hey guys, it's Erin. I am doing a little recap of our class three, our balance focus class. So I wanted to go over the tips that I gave you in class so that you can practice some at home. So balance is all about feet and focus. You're balancing on your feet the majority of the time in these balancing poses. Now we balance on our feet all the time. Every time we walk, every time we stand, we are balanced on our feet, but we don't really think about it. So when we're going into a balancing pose, first I want you to think about your feet making contact with the mat. So you want to make sure you're making as good of contact as you can and that all the parts of your foot are grounded down into the mat. So if you're looking at the bottom of your feet, you want all the balls of your feet, this area behind your big toe, the area behind your little toe, your whole heel, and your toes. Your toes can grip down. Your toes are kind of your brake system to keep you from going forward. So using the whole foot to ground down. You also want to start with a good base, and that comes from your feet too. So before you move into any more advanced poses, you want to make sure you're starting good, you're starting steady. So if I'm going to be balanced on my left leg, say my left leg is my standing strength and my right leg needs to be able to lift and move, I don't ever want to go right into a balance pose without first grounding down through the left and making sure I'm steady. So I'm activating the muscles in this leg. I'm pressing down through my foot. I'm gripping with my toes and I'm nice and tall and strong. And I do all of that before I ever lift my right foot. So you don't want to go into, let's say we're going into a tree pose. I don't just pop up into the tree pose because I'm coming up shaky. I want to make sure I'm steady, strong, and balanced. And then I start to move the other leg. My second thing I said to focus on feet and our focus. And that has a lot to do with being in the present moment. And one of the best ways to do that is to find a DRISD or a focal point. You want to find a point that's already in the direction that you're going to be looking. So we were just doing tree pose. Tree pose, you're looking ahead. So I want to find a spot that's already in my line of sight. Don't want something too far away, and you don't want something moving. So I like to try to find a little spot on the floor or a spot on the wall. You could find, a little irregularity, a little knot in the wood, anything that you can put your full attention onto. So once you're steady, you're grounded, you're making good contact, you find your focal point and you put your energy and your focus into that. That's going to take out some of this external stimuli. So you're not going to be as distracted because you're going to be focused in. And that really, really helps with our balance because you're not going to be distracted and being in the present moment. Just you have to be in the present moment when you're doing balance. You have to focus on what you're doing because as soon as you think about something else or you look somewhere else, you're going to fall out of that pose. So we worked on eagle pose tonight. That was one of our harder balance poses, and I just kind of wanted to go through that with you, and also doing that one leg balance challenge. So we've got our one block here. I'm going to put this block to the inside of my left foot. You can put it on whatever height that you need. I'm going to put mine on my lower height because I know it's going to be a little bit more stable there. And then I'm going to ground down through this left leg and I'm going to start to lift my right foot up, toe down. So I've got my knee facing forward. This was the challenge that we did where we just tried to lift our right knee and hold for 1 minute to see how we feel. If we feel like we're swaying forwards and backwards, side to side, how many times we have to touch down. So this is something I'd like for you to try at home this week, doing a balance challenge, holding it on your right leg up, and then you can switch sides. I went to go that was a prime example. I went to lift my left leg without grounding down first. So I'm gonna ground down through my right leg, make sure I'm balanced here before I ever do anything with my left leg. So once I feel good, I've got my focal point, then I lift my left leg. I hope you guys could see that, how I tried to just rush through it and I wasn't balanced at all. But when I took the time and I took those steps, now I feel very steady standing up. So that's one challenge you can do. Let's go through that eagle pose. So for my eagle pose, I'm going to have this block in between. I'm going to use my left leg as my standing strength first. So I'm going to ground down through this left leg. Eagle pose, we're looking ahead of us. So I'm going to find a spot for my focal point. I'm sorry. The block's going to be on the outside of your foot. Sorry, guys. So it's the outside of my left foot. I'm going to lift my right leg, bringing it up in front of me, cross it over my left, and then sink down so that my toes are touching this block. So my left knee, the standing strength, this knee is going to come into the space behind my right knee. So we're tucking these together, sinking down into this left leg. Now I'm going to take my right arm up, wrap my left arm under and around, bringing my palms together. Eagle pose is tricky because now your arms are in the way of your drishti. So you can either try to look in between your hands or you can bring it slightly to the side so that you can see around it and still find your focal point. Once you feel balanced here, then you can try to lift that toe off the block, balancing in this pose. If you notice, my eyes never leave my focal point. They never leave my drishti. And you can't notice this because you can't feel it, but my feet are pressed into the ground. My toes are gripping. My feet are making good contact. And then I'm going to stand up, exhale, let that go. Shake that out. I'm going to move this block to the outside of my right foot now. First thing I'm going to do, ground down through this right leg. My right foot's making good contact with the mat. My toes are gripping. I've got my focal point. I'm looking at a little knot in the wood here. Taking a breath. As I inhale, I'm going to lift this left knee, cross my left leg over my right, and find the block with my left toe. My right knee, my right standing strength leg, this right knee is going to kind of tuck in behind my left knee. So I'm sinking into this leg. Then I'm going to take my left hand on top, wrap my right arm under, bring my palms together. I can still see my focal point. Taking my breath, taking my time. When I feel good here, I'm going to start to lift this left foot off the block. I never take my eyes off my focal point, grounding down through my foot. And then exhale, I'm going to stand up and release. So those are two things that you can practice this week. You can practice that standing, just that knee lift, that 1 minute challenge. And then you can also practice going into your eagle pose if you want a little bit more balanced practice. But remember, feet and focus. Those are the two things that are going to help you with balance. I'll see you next week for our mid-series review.